but let's talk legally where the families stand in this lawsuit, if you don't mind, Anahita.
It's a very complex legal issue, but parents do not have an absolute right to refuse medical care for their children. A lot of people don't know that. And when the basis for the refusal is religious beliefs, it gets even more complex. And ultimately, a court makes that decision as to whether or not a parent should be compelled to give treatment to a child.
Okay, they refused the vitamin K. So according to this law, that put them in the category that the child's welfare is in jeopardy.
And that's the question. The court will have to decide.
And is that why they took the kid away?
Yes, they took this child away. The hospital is saying, look, we follow the department policy. We had to do this. It's not our fault. The policy has been rescinded, but the couple was still damaged. Multiple couples had their children taken away from them at childbirth based on this policy. So the court is going to have to decide, can a parent legally refuse a vitamin K shot, or is that considered neglect?
We have a series called Money versus Medicine. A lot of this feels now like legal versus medicine. You know, I'm not sure what the damages are that the class action lawsuit is seeking. Can you address that? Like, who's being sued?
The hospital is being sued, the department is being sued, and like I said, it's going to be up to the court to decide. This will set a precedent for future states as well. So if the court says legally vitamin K is not medically necessary, other states will follow. But ultimately, who should make that decision? What if it's based on a parent's religious beliefs, like in this case? It's going to be up to the court to do that balancing test.
What are your thoughts on it as an attorney?
I think it can go either way. I mean, I don't think you can disagree with the fact that you can debate whether or not this is medically necessary. Should parents be compelled to give it to their kids? Debate that all day, but I don't think you can debate the policy of taking a newborn away from a couple in that, immediate moment of childbirth. I don't think anyone can argue that that is legal, that is moral, that is ethical, and I think that's going to be the big problem in this lawsuit.
If there's a big settlement against DCFS here, against the doctors, against the hospitals, I'm telling you right now, doctors are going to be like, hey, I mean, okay. And I think, you're in medicine, your number one job is to protect that child. And a child doesn't have a choice in the matter. And I think with all due respect, I think parents who are doing the right thing for their kids, but man, there are bad parents out there.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem, is we're all making this as something. There are terrible parents out there.
There has to be a balance. Like, courts step in to give kids chemo. And like if the American Academy of Pediatrics is saying, look, we really think this is safe, this is effective, which they are saying, and honestly, as an OB-GYN, I believe that. I would want the shot for my child. But if they're saying this is safe, you're saying that there are risks, those risks don't exist, and you're having this increased risk of potentially fatal bleeds in these babies, then is that neglect? But I think there just has to be a rule across the board. And for me, before we take a child away from their parents, and that's allegedly what happened. So before we're taking children away from their parents for 12 hours, we want to be sure, which is bad, bonding, breastfeeding, like all of these other things. And of course, you're worried about what's happening to your child while they're out of your care. If you really want them to be with you, there needs to be a standard.
We need precedent, and I think you make great points in saying that. We need some type of standard so doctors and hospitals know what to do. This shot needs to be given right away, so you don't have a judge sitting in the next room, right? So there has to be guidance.
We all want what's best for the child. We just have differing opinions as far as what that is, and we just have to come to one agreement.
Absolutely.
To avoid situations like this.
I agree with you. And there will be a settlement. They're not going to take this case to trial. It's going to cost way too much money, way too much heartache for both sides to go through a trial and litigate this case. So there will be a settlement.
And if there's a great takeaway from this, it'll ultimately be like, look, okay, maybe we all acknowledge this vitamin K shot can be life-saving, but we also acknowledge that it is not ever going to be appropriate to just take a child away right in the newborn period for 12 hours. These are the lessons learned. I hate to say this, but the doctor's court is no longer in session.